Somewhere between the Chex Mix and the cold brew, American gas stations have quietly become unlicensed pharmacies. The products lining their shelves carry names like Neptune's Fix, Zaza, and X-rated honey, but their ingredients tell a very different story. These compounds bind to opioid receptors, mimic prescription antidepressants, activate the same brain pathways as benzodiazepines, and deliver erectile dysfunction medications, all without a prescription, a warning label, or a pharmacist in sight. These are not fringe curiosities. An estimated 1.7 million Americans used Kratom alone in 2021, and poison control centers have fielded tens of thousands of calls related to these substances in recent years. The pharmacology behind each product is real, often potent, and sometimes deadly. Many of them were originally developed as legitimate pharmaceuticals in clinical settings around the world. Tianeptine treats depression in parts of Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Phenibut calms anxiety in Russia, where it still requires a prescription. Tadalafil is available only through a doctor for erectile dysfunction. Yet in the United States, these same active ingredients are repackaged, rebranded with appealing labels, and sold next to trail mix and energy drinks. The gap between their pharmacological power and their casual availability creates a risk profile that science is only beginning to map. Kratom originates from the leaves of Mitragyna speciosa, a tropical tree native to Southeast Asia, where communities have used it for centuries as an energy booster, a social lubricant, and a traditional medicine. The plant's alkaloids bind to mu-opioid receptors, the same molecular targets activated by morphine and heroin. At low doses, kratom acts more like a stimulant. At higher doses, it flips, producing sedation and pain relief that closely resemble opioid effects. This dual personality stems from the fact that kratom's compounds also interact with serotonin, dopamine, and other receptor systems, creating a pharmacological profile far more complex than a simple painkiller. Kratom's primary alkaloid, mitragynine, does not lock onto opioid receptors as tightly as morphine, which is why its effects tend to be milder. But milder does not mean harmless. Documented side effects range from nausea and dizziness to liver toxicity, respiratory depression, and seizures. Deaths have occurred, though most involved other substances, making kratom's independent contribution difficult to isolate. In July 2025, the FDA recommended that the DEA classify 7-hydroxymitragynine, a far more potent kratom alkaloid found in concentrated commercial products, as a Schedule I controlled substance. As of early 2026, kratom is banned in at least 7 U.S. states, regulated in 18 more, and remains illegal in over 30 countries worldwide. Tianeptine earned its street name gas station heroin for a reason. Originally developed in Europe as an atypical tricyclic antidepressant, it was designed to modulate glutamate and reduce depressive symptoms. Instead of targeting serotonin and noradrenaline, it acts on glutamate pathways. The problem is that it also activates mu-opioid receptors. At prescribed therapeutic doses of 12.5 milligrams 3 times daily, it functions as an antidepressant. But without medical supervision, some users consume up to 120 times those doses to chase opioid-like euphoria. The consequences mirror opioid abuse, dependence, tolerance, rapid and severe withdrawal, and, potentially, fatal overdose. 15 states have now classified tianeptine as a Schedule I controlled substance, and bipartisan federal legislation introduced in 2025 aims to schedule it nationally. Phenibut follows a different neurochemical path to a similarly dangerous destination. Developed in the Soviet Union to help cosmonauts manage the psychological stress of spaceflight. It mimics GABA, the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. By binding to GABA receptors and blocking anxiety-linked pathways, phenibut can produce effects ranging from calm relaxation to outright euphoria. However, excessive use triggers a broad spectrum of adverse reactions, including sedation, agitation, delirium, and psychosis. Withdrawal symptoms parallel those of benzodiazepines, tremors, insomnia, heart palpitations, and rebound anxiety that is often worse than the original condition. The FDA has determined that phenibut does not qualify as a dietary ingredient, making its sale in supplement form illegal. Despite this ruling, it remains widely available through online retailers and on gas station shelves across the country. The story of synthetic THC at gas stations begins with a single legislative oversight. The 2018 Farm Bill legalized hemp, defined as cannabis containing less than 0.3% delta-9 THC by dry weight. Congress specified only delta-9 THC. It said nothing about delta-8, delta-1, 0, or any other cannabinoid variant. Manufacturers quickly discovered they could chemically convert hemp-derived CBD into delta-8 and delta-10 THC, using fairly common chemicals in a process sometimes called kitchen chemistry. Because these synthetic variants technically derived from legal hemp, they existed in a gray zone that allowed them to be sold nationwide without age restrictions, quality testing, or dosing standards. Like natural delta-9 THC, synthetic versions bind to cannabinoid receptors throughout the brain. Activation in memory centers impairs short-term recall. Binding in emotional processing regions can trigger panic and paranoia. Between 2021 and 2024, U.S. poison control centers received over 10,000 calls related to delta-8 THC, with children under 6 representing a disproportionate share of exposures and critical care admissions. In November 2025, Congress closed the loophole by redefining hemp to include total THC content and explicitly excluding synthetically manufactured cannabinoids. The ban takes effect in November 2026, but the damage from years of unregulated sales, particularly to children attracted by candy-like packaging, has already accumulated. Perhaps the most deceptive gas station product comes disguised as honey. Packets marketed under names like X-rated honey for men and Royal Honey VIP promise natural sexual enhancement. FDA laboratory analysis has repeatedly confirmed that these products contain tadalafil, the active pharmaceutical ingredient in Cialis, and sometimes sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra. Neither ingredient appears on the label. Tadalafil works by inhibiting PDE5, an enzyme that breaks down a molecule responsible for dilating blood vessels. The result increases blood flow, which is why it treats erectile dysfunction. But tadalafil does not selectively target one area of the body. It affects blood vessels everywhere, including the lungs, prostate, and eyes. One documented case involved a man who developed retinal swelling after consuming a honey packet, though his vision returned to normal after a month. People taking nitrates for heart conditions risk life-threatening drops in blood pressure when combining them with undisclosed tadalafil. In July 2025, the FDA warned consumers about multiple honey products containing both tadalafil and sildenafil, alongside undisclosed acetaminophen, compounding the risk of liver damage. The compounds themselves are not inherently villainous. Kratom may hold therapeutic promise. Tianeptine treats depression in other countries. Tadalafil helps millions under medical supervision. The danger lies in stripping away dosing guidance, quality control, medical screening, and informed consent. then placing powerful pharmaceuticals on a shelf next to candy bars. Thanks for watching. If you have anything to add, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos exploring the world around us.